Who do you think I am? That's unheard of. Unheard of. You know what? Don't start. No, it's not. And it's not good at all. Why would you do that?
You know, the best way to predict the future is to create it.
It's a deep question.
Welcome to another episode of the Billionaire Habits with Dr. Stephen Akintayo. This is the Dubai Burj Khalifa episodes. We have a couple of amazing guests who are here in Dubai. And today we have Reggie Shipman. I'm just going to start with that name, Shipman. What does it mean?
What's wrong with it?
No, nothing's wrong. What does it mean in Africa? Things mean, names are every name has a meaning.
I mean, honestly, I have not determined what the meaning is. And I know you're going to kill me because when we first met...
Have you done your DNA?
No, I knew you were going there.
No, wrong.
When you first asked me... when you first met me at the gala, you asked, where am I from? I said, the United States. Yeah. And you said... Originally from where? And I said, originally from Alabama. And you were like, originally from where? And you were like, I don't know. Like, I have no idea. And that made me think, oh my God, like, this is so crazy because in the States, we don't hear that in the Black American community. It's just, what state are you from? Yeah. And from the South, that's what we do. Is from Alabama. I'm a country girl from Alabama. That's where I'm from. But coming here to Dubai, and every, I guess, African that I've encountered has asked me that same question. Yeah. Even Abby, like when we first met, she was like, but from where? And I'm like, I have no idea. I have no clue.
But I think you should do it. I mean, I watched Bishop TJX narrate how he did his and how he made him to feel.
Absolutely.
Knowing that he's from Nigeria, he's from the Igbo tribe. Mm-hmm. Now he hosts a lot of his, in fact, I remember when we went to Potter's house after service and, First Lady was busy, kind of checking those who want to meet Bishop. Mm. And when we just raised hands, say, from Nigeria, my in-laws are here. And let us see Bishop first. so in fact, we met. By the time we got to the queue, there were a lot of people keen to see Bishop. They took us to the front, right? Because we are his brothers from Nigeria.
Did he prove it? He proved it with the ancestry DNA?
Yes.
That's
he
cool.
Did this, and he discovered it's from Nigeria, and then Igbo tribe. Not even just from Nigeria. He discovered the tribe. Right. Where he's from, and it's important because you need to know where you are from.
I'm gonna find out.
Please
don't go off on me the next time we meet again, because every single time you ask me the same question.
Please do, and I believe you will feel good because now you can trace your roots. Yeah. America, it's your home, but
what are you gonna say? You gotta say something bad about it. I feel it in your spirit. I can see it on your face.
No, I'm just saying that's not your roots. You have to know your root. And I think it's a challenge most of us and a lot of you African Americans face, because you can't know who you are until you know your people, right, where originally you're from. And I see that sometimes even culturally there are certain behaviors of African American. I'm like, I wish you understand that you're from a conservative culture. And that this narrative, this Western narrative, this is not you.
Yeah.
I
completely agree. We're just not taught that. Even from a young age, even our parents and grandparents, they didn't embrace it. I don't think it's until this generation now that's even open to understanding and exploring that concept. So I completely agree.
So who is Reggie?
Who am I?
Yeah.
Who do you think I am?
You tell me.
I am originally from Alabama. Beyond that, I have to find out and I get back to you. But I'm a country girl, born and raised in a small town called Troy, Alabama. Raised by a single mom. I have an older sibling and a younger sibling. So I'm in the middle.
So three
of us. Okay. Yes. My brother's 8 years older than I am. And we're super close. And then I have a younger sister that's a year younger than me. So
that's your twin.
See, I knew you were gonna go there. I was thinking it, so telepathically you said it.
Yeah.
But essentially, my mom used to dress us alike, like we were twins, and I hated it. I hated it so much because I'm not her twin. Why would you dress us alike? Yeah. For example, we would have overalls. If I had a red pair, she would have a blue pair. Like, I like being unique. I like being different. And so when she did that, I'm like, oh, I hate it. I hate it. So much so that when I would have a birthday party, she would have a cake and I would have a cake. And it's not even, it's so frustrating why do I have to share my day? My birthday's in June. Yeah. Her birthday's not until September. What is that? What sense does that even make? Exactly. And she's the baby. So, it's kind of like, whatever, deal with it. So, it is what it is. I'm the middle child. So essentially, I'm kind of seen as the rebel. I went out of state to college. I went to LSU in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
What did you study?
I studied business and Spanish. So,
so you speak Spanish?
I do. When I graduated from college, I actually moved to Spain. And I lived there in Madrid for about a year.
Why Spain?
Okay, that's a great question. Why Spain? Why Spanish is the secondary question. So when I was about 8 years old, I would say my cousin, I had an older female cousin that was in college in Savannah, Georgia. And she was in town in Troy visiting us. And I remember like it was yesterday. I was in the backseat of a car at night in front of my grandfather's house. And we were just waiting until I guess my mom or my aunt or someone was coming out. And she taught me my numbers from 1 to 10. Like within 2 minutes, I knew it. And I was like, so if that's 10, what's 100? So she taught me how to count to 100. And ever since then, it was in the back of my mind. I was like, I could speak another language. No one else around me could know where did it come from. And so I've always been an inquisitive child. And so I've taken that with me throughout life. And so from that moment, when she taught me my numbers in Spanish, that gave me a passion for just culture and just languages in general. So ever since then, I was like, where do I learn more? And essentially, in a country town like that, we had, basically one elementary, one middle, one high school. So it was really hard to find resources. I didn't get a chance to take Spanish classes until I believe 7th or 8th grade. And so my teacher then was Miss Bentley. I remember like it was yesterday. And then she taught me the basics. And when I got to high school, I took it every year. And that was unheard of because Spanish at my high school was like the elite class. And so Miss Merkel, she instilled all of the teachings that I had when it came to the language. Essentially, when I got to college, I didn't learn anything that I didn't already know outside of studying cinematography in Spanish and even the literature. We had studied so much in high school. I literally took my binders, which she told us from day one, we were going to use these throughout life. And I took those binders to college, and that's what I used to study from high school.
How much did you take with you to Spain?
How much?
Yes. Did you had with you when you got to Spain?
What? How much of the language?
No, cash. Because I felt it was like an adventure, I'm sure.
It was definitely an adventure. So I tried to study abroad, but the guy didn't want me to study abroad. He just wanted me to wait. So I finished my studies and then go. So that's essentially what happened. Cash, I probably had thinking back, maybe had $1,000.
Wow. How did you summer a whole year?
So I had a plan. So I knew I wanted to go and be immersed in the culture. So I found a program where I could teach English while I was there. But also a lot of the people that I met through the same program, they lived amongst other Americans. I was like, I'm not doing that. That's not the purpose why I'm here. I want to live with a family. So I live with a family who I'm still in contact with and we keep in touch with.
How did you connect with them?
I just search for things. Anything you're looking for, you can find. Anything you're looking for, you can find.
Wow.
Found them. We had interviews back and forth. I let them meet my mom so she could be comfortable. Because me moving to Spain was the first time I ever left the country internationally. And I moved there. Wow. So at that point, it's like, okay, I'm going. I had no fear. I just knew I was going to be doing something that I said I was going to do. Yeah. And met the family, met their 2 kids who were like my little brothers. They graduated now from high school, which is crazy. They're the same age. The oldest one is the same age as my oldest niece. So that was pretty cool. And they were pen pals for like a short time. But stayed with the family and they had a housekeeper that lived in. So I really experienced the full family life of a Spanish family. And it's different from Mexico because, Spain is the motherland of the Spanish language. And I was able to travel all around Spain. I spent time with their extended family, like their mothers, their grandkids, and their cousins, like on the weekends.
Wasn't it weird?
What do you mean weird?
Yeah.
Weird why?
Yeah. In terms of you are a Black African American now, like immersing yourself in that culture.
So it wasn't weird
because you could speak their language.
No, it's just not in me. I feel like, first of all, I feel like I'm different. I don't classify myself. Okay, I'm definitely a Black American, but when I say I'm supposed to be somewhere, I feel it. I'm supposed to be in Spain. I'm supposed to be here. It's not like I'm not. So that confidence is with me regardless. So me feeling weird or out of place, that's not something that I can relate to. When it came to them, my high school Spanish teacher actually prepped me before I went and let me know that, you're fresh out of college, you're young, Black female, you have to be mindful about even the smallest things. Like when you are living with a family, you can't walk around with certain, attire, like sleeping pajamas, like have a robe. I never had a robe before, but I bought one to move there because I was very cognizant of, how I present myself to the family around their kids and things I would say and how I would act, because even their family life was completely different from what I was used to. So growing up with a single mom, she worked all the time. So we were kind of raised by my brother. We fed ourselves and we watched TV. We weren't like, we weren't raised essentially to kind of assimilate the same type of family life that they did. So going there and understanding that they had a set time for the kids to eat dinner, and then afterwards the adults would eat dinner, and then they would watch family TV together, and then the kids could only watch 30 minutes of TV in English. Like, this is all structure that I wasn't used to. So for me, it wasn't weird. It was just an adjustment to that.
Were you able to pick up a job aside the teaching job?
No, outside of the teaching, I didn't want to, just because I want to focus on that, because those kids, they spoke in Spanish, but we had to teach in English and do lesson plans in English. But I really wanted to be immersed in the culture and see how they ran their schools and things like that. Like, for me as a teacher, that wouldn't be a profession I would do long term, because I feel like my acumen is more of the business sector, building businesses, marketing, and things like that. So for me, I just knew it was an experience. Like, I didn't want to continue teaching. I just wanted to be immersed in the culture and learn how they did things.
So from Spain to Dubai or back to the States first?
So Dubai, this is back in 2009, 2010. So that was a while ago. When I returned back to the States, I worked for a student housing developer. So before I left, I was with the same student housing developer doing new lease-up projects for student housing. And that was in Baton Rouge. And so when I got back to the States, I went back to the same company because I kept those relationships. And they had different properties all over the U.S. I was in Tuscaloosa, Cincinnati, San Diego, Dallas, and then Houston. So I would travel to all these different locations, lease up their projects, and then they would sell them post pre-lease. So that was their business model. After I transitioned from that company, I went into prop tech. So prop tech, that was actually my official sales job, I would say, even though, pre-leasing and new development special projects were my passion. It was sales, but not on the professional scale, in my opinion. So, some people may disagree, but I learned so much from that opportunity, because I was able to be with a startup that had been, operating for a couple of years, but my business knowledge of student housing, I was able to help them build out a student housing platform for their company. And that company sold for $250 million. Ooh. So after that, I transitioned to real estate brokerage, where I've been specializing in multifamily assets. So the same relationships I had in property management and with the developers, I was able to translate that into actually selling the entire buildings. Wow. So for me, I'm always looking to kind of go to the next step and level and continue to build upon those relationships. And I got to a place where I felt like I had maximized the network, right? And I'm like, so what's next? Not even Dubai, not even, because in the States, it's in our mind, like, you don't go to the Middle East. It's dangerous. Like, you don't go, especially not to live. Like, that's unheard of. For me, like, I knew it was something else that I need to do, whether it be move to New York or another state, but it just didn't feel right. So another place that I like to frequent is London. And so, I went there a lot, but normally for shopping. I'm not gonna lie. I would go there for Boxing Day sales and throughout the holidays and spend time with family and friends there. Well, friends, not family. They're friends more like family, but spend time there and travel all across the world. But in terms of building the next level of my career, I didn't know what that was. And so, God placed certain people in my life to spark ideas. And so when I was here, I came to visit a friend back in May and June here in Dubai. And whenever I travel, I try to make it a pleasure trip, but also a business trip. So I booked a couple of meetings with some real estate firms here and also some private equity firms and just had a conversation. And so most of them spoke to me about the opportunity to invest, but not here in Dubai. They wanted to invest back in the States. And their challenge was they didn't have anyone local that had market knowledge of the U.S. market to kind of be the liaison to do that. And so that got my brain churning, and I'm starting research and things like that. I already had experienced the lifestyle of Dubai, the glitz and the glamour, but like I said, I'm more business oriented. So I went back to the States, and I have nothing holding me there. Like, I have no kids, no husband or anything like that. I was like, why not? Why not Dubai? So from June until September, I put things in motion and I ended up moving here. So I've been here since September.
This year?
Yes.
Oh, so recent.
It's literally 3 months this past Thursday.
So has it been?
It's been amazing. It definitely feels like this is where I'm supposed to be and at the right time. Absolutely.
Why? What fascinates you about Dubai?
So not only is it the Middle East, completely off my radar, right? It's not Europe. Anyone can just go to Europe and say, oh, I live in, Paris now. This is the Middle East. Like back home, like people just, they wish they could book trips just to visit. And then they all have all these preconceived notions like, oh, it's so expensive. Yeah. It's just so like luxurious. It just seems so unattainable. And for me, like you asked me before, you asked if I had social media. It's more so I post things that I enjoy, not because I'm trying to influence other people, but there's so many people that have said that I've inspired them just to just live more because it's given them an opportunity to kind of think outside of what they're used to. For me, it's just been just being here. The people are just so gracious, welcoming, kind, caring. Everything's so convenient. If I want a pair of shoes from a store, I can call them or WhatsApp them. They'll bring it to me.
Yeah, like, that's true.
That's unheard of. Unheard of.
True. In America, you have to queue to buy everything.
Everything.
Like, you guys love to queue. The queue in even McDonald's. I'm like, come on.
The thing is, it seems like everything has to be so strict and so regulated in the U.S., which I understand the reasons for that. Yeah. And it's like Dubai is finding another way, essentially. I've never heard of a Ministry of Happiness. Like, what? Seriously, but that's such a necessity. Like, life's too short to be stressed out about so many unnecessary things. And I think they get it.
They do. I love it here in Dubai as well. Dubai is just awesome. But business career-wise, have you seen it?
I've seen it as very productive. There's so many. So to me, I was talking to a colleague the other day and describing Dubai as a greenfield because they're so ahead in many ways, but some ways you can just create what you want. Because even in the real estate realm, I'm actually brokering here. But there's not as many regulations as there are in the U.S.
Very true.
So many.
Very true.
The market is hot. And then there's more reasons why. Like the regulations aren't there. So you do way more transactions at higher volumes and higher prices. And it's profitable. Like it's a no-brainer. Like business is great. But then in terms of like dealing with investors, so I deal with a lot of high net worth individuals. Like with real estate, it's cyclical, right? But a lot of times they're inquiring about, how to do things in a foreign country. So I've basically transitioned to more so into a lifestyle concierge because it's kind of like, what do you need? I'll find it for you. And I've always been about being of service to my clients, no matter what they need. It can be real estate, it can be, where can I find the nearest, salon or anything like that. Like you're a concierge. And so
how do you find your clients in Dubai?
Yeah. Okay. So if I'm meeting people out and about, yes, they're looking for real estate, but they're looking for other resources as well. I mean, Dubai is a place where you can find any and everything, but you don't know where to start. It's kind of overwhelming in that sense. And so to find someone like me that could get a list of, or wish list of things that you want and create an experience for you, like that's my passion. Like that's how I live my life. So
do you do more of, one-on-one, or you do more of online digital marketing?
One-on-one.
Why do you prefer one-on-one?
Because it's more quality versus quantity for me. I like to build solid relationships with my clients so they can continue to kind of come to me and trust me, because if we have a working relationship, we know each other, especially if we're dealing with privacy as well. Like, I think that's important. You can't do that for everyone. The quality would be diluted if you did it that way. That's why I prefer not to do as much with social media, just because, not any and everybody I prefer to work with, and vice versa. So I don't have to work with everyone, but I'd rather have quality clients. So
that makes sense. So you're expensive. So anybody who wants to do business with her, just make sure you have a bag full of money. Else she's going to say cancel.
That's true. That's true, though. You pay for what you get in any business or any service-oriented business at the end of the day. So
how many languages do you speak? English, perhaps? English,
Spanish. I'm learning Arabic, and I would love to learn French. So
how good is your Arabic?
You know what? Don't start. No, it's not. And it's not good at all. Do you know how difficult that language is? It's so crazy. There's a lot of clients that I've encountered recently that are Russian. Yeah. And I'm like so intrigued because I look at how they write it, and it's like, it's mind-blowing. Yeah. They're not even letters. Like, they're pictures. It's so intriguing. So intriguing. But something as small as that would spark me into a rabbit hole of research, and I will end up learning, if not just the basics, but a little bit more conversation. That's how I get started. Like,
so do you see yourself 5-10 years here in Dubai?
Absolutely.
So who is Reggie 10 years from now? Let's just fast forward 10 years from now.
10 years from now? Why are you trying to age me?
So
why would you do that?
So I try
and then you're gonna pull this tape up and be like, okay, let's compare what you said or thought was gonna be. That's so crazy though, because life throws so many different curveballs.
Well, I do that a lot. I have a 50-year goal plan. I'm in my 14th year. So I do that a lot. I like go into the future, because the best way to create the future, the best way to predict the future is to create it.
Exactly.
I read this from Bill Gates, but it's the truth. You kind of want to go boom into the future and then do all your creation and come back to reality and then start the journey. And that's what God did as well.
I agree, but I also disagree. And I'll tell you why. So I used to be the type that would set so many lists of things I want to do and accomplish, and then I wouldn't be as present to accomplish those things. So it really...
You won't be as...
present.
Okay.
So if I set the goals to be X, Y, and Z in 5 years, it's like I'm just moving, trying to knock things out to get there. So I'm not really embracing the journey. So if I kind of transition to be more mindful and more present, to kind of take whatever interests me at that time, if it's really, speaking to my spirit, that's where I'm supposed to go. And as long as I know and I'm aware of who I am, then it's going to be the right path at the end of the day.
Well, ultimately, there are no one way to the journey of life, and I agree that everybody has to look inwards into what they feel is the real thing for them. So for you, it's just in the moment, living in the moment, and not necessarily looking far out.
Yes and no. I prioritize happiness and not titles. So if I say I want to live a lifestyle where I have autonomy, I want to be have flexibility in my time, I want to be happy, that could be anything. I don't want to put a title and say that's commercial real estate. I don't want to say that's my luxury concierge services. That could be anything.
What will you say you want to be your legacy?
My legacy? Oh, wow. That's a deep question. I think it would be to show a track record of exploration, growth, and just embracing the newness of everything, whether it be just meeting people and hearing their stories, or traveling to new places, experiencing new cultures, and just embracing change and growth and showing that path of how I was able to do that.
What's that billionaire habits you've learned from billionaires you've met, and if you ever met billionaires, maybe millionaires,
Gratitude.
that you think you loved.
The majority of them that I've met have a mindset of gratitude, because any of that could be taken away at any moment.
Interesting. Nice having you. Thank you for coming.